Hey, are you ready to see how I wrap up my business? This is my year in review. December is a great time to do this, but don't worry, if you didn't get to it in time before that New Year deadline, you can do this any time of the year. In fact, it's also a helpful exercise to go through at the end of every month on a smaller scale, or at the end of every quarter as you're getting ready to pay taxes or focus on something new for your next quarter in question. The first thing I do is check out my key performance indicators, aka those KPIs that every single business should have. At a bare minimum, you should have at least one KPI, which is how much money did I make, and hopefully two, which is how much money did I spend. If you know those two numbers, then you know what your profit is for that year. The reason why it's so important to track things like how much money you're bringing in, how much you're spending, how many Instagram followers you have, how many people that you have purchasing from you on your website, what your average order value is. There's a lot of KPIs that you could have. But the bottom line is that the reason why it's so important to have these is because if we don't have them, if we don't track them, they will never grow. If you're wondering why your profit is staying stagnant, it's because you haven't taken a look at these two key performance indicators to figure out why there is a discrepancy between your revenue and your profit. And it's just because you're spending too much. So let's figure out how to either cut back or make more. If you've never tracked any of this, you're totally new to it, don't let this stop you, because now you know, and now you can move forward in a more intentional way with your business. If you need something to help you plan your revenue, I'm gonna link my revenue planner that I use every year. I'm gonna link it below. This was adapted from when I was in a mastermind with Adrienne Dorison, and she gave us one. I made it my own, and now I'm here giving it to you. If you know that name, it's probably because she is the gal behind Run Like Clockwork, that book that she co-wrote with Mike Michalowicz. Long story short, it's a really good revenue planner and you're gonna wanna pick it up. The second thing I like to do right after I've looked at all those key performance indicators and how much money I've made versus how much I've spent is to figure out what projects we are currently working on and what we have wrapping up and coming up. My coach, Sabrina Phillip, taught me that you should always be working a few launches ahead of schedule. And that's where we really worked hard to get to in Q4 of 2020, is to work a few launches ahead of schedule with our Christina Scalera brand. If you don't know, I also have an award-winning e-commerce store called The Contract Shop. That is what runs and pays me every month so that I can get this brand up and off the ground and help teach you guys how I did what I did in The Contract Shop. As an example, in my own business, one of the projects that we're wrapping up is moving people from our first product that we created for my brand, my personal brand, which was how to create your own digital download product. Our Products on Tap course teaches you how to do that. And very soon, in the next month or so, probably very shortly after this video comes out, you're going to have access to my sales system. And this is a really unique sales system that I've never seen anybody put together like this before, because let's be honest, e-commerce is an emerging industry and it's got a lot of really great things from e-commerce. It's got a lot of really great things from online courses, but creating and selling digital download products in the form of a shop has its own unique twists and turns, I'll say. And that is what we need to focus on if we're going to have those simple, sustainable sales every single day. That might be a little hint about what's coming. The next thing I do as I'm wrapping up my year is I look at what went well and what didn't go so well. Because while it's important and it's easy for us to create a list of the things that didn't go as we wanted them to, especially in 2020, it's also equally, if not more important, to look at the things that you were able to accomplish. Very rarely do we sit back and say, here's exactly what we were able to do with this amazing time that we had this year. It's so important to celebrate your wins and your successes and your client wins and your customer success stories, because if you don't do that, it will never be enough. You will never make enough money. You will never be happy enough. You will never have enough stuff. You'll never drive a pretty enough car. You'll never love everything that you do enough to make it worth your while. So it's really, really critical for you to step back and say, this is what went well this year, and own that. And then finally, once I'm done with the practical and also the mindset side of wrapping up my year, the last thing that I like to do is create some sort of focus for my next year, or at least my next half a year, because sometimes we'll shift our focus throughout the year. For example, In Q1, my focus is on getting you guys some new products from ChristinaScalera.com. So you'll definitely want to be signed up there to check those out as they become available. We'll definitely have more blog posts and content and freebies. So those are all coming your way soon. In Q2, we're refocusing on Pinterest and Instagram because of all that new content that we just created. If you don't know, having content can really make those other platforms run very, very well. So you'll want to have the content before you focus on blowing that content up and sharing it out everywhere. Focusing can actually be kind of hard. A lot of us have 20 million projects started and none of them finished or even near close to finishing, and it can feel really discouraging. I know the resistance that you're probably having to choosing some sort of focus for a half a year, a month, or even just a day. If that's the case, please know that your focus can shift and change. It should shift and change. But what you have to do to get started is just to create somewhere to stand on, something to stand on so that you have a platform to jump off of and into the next thing, even if that changes from where you thought it would be. No matter what you have or haven't done this year, I want to just tell you from the bottom of my heart, congratulations on getting through 2020, and we have lots of better days ahead. Just surviving this year was an accomplishment in and of itself, so there you go. You've already accomplished that much, and I know that 2021 has a lot more great things in store for you. The only thing that's holding you back is you. So which direction will you choose to go in 2021? I hope to see you in the new year through our videos and amazing content over at the Contract Shop. And if you decide that you want to add passive income streams to your service-based business, you can check out my new business available at myfirstnamelastname.com, just ChristinaScalera.com. If you halfway get my name right, you'll find me on Google. I have a weird name. I love you. Have a wonderful new year. I can't wait to see you in 2021.